Kelly McKinney Golden, and I am presenting my Module 3 for EDL 854, Building Finance, for Lisa Gehring. So activity fund safeguards, they are internal control procedures all schools need to follow to protect their assets from loss, misuse, or theft. Procedures assist with prevention of unauthorized transactions, and they also assist with compliance with policies, regulations, and laws, such as concerning the IRS or with your state purchasing. This applies to all aspects of schools' financial operations, from receiving funds, say, for admissions, from students, all the way down to the securing of financial documents. And really, the best way to think about it as best practices for managing your finances within the building. So guidelines for spending school activity funds. Out of school money matters. Just some overall guidelines is that these access to finances should be restricted, or financial documents should be restricted. That you should be using the monies that are gained from anything for the purpose that it was raised for. So if you are saying that you are doing a fundraiser that is going to fund a certain activity for students, that's what the money should be raised for. If it is for funding for the entire student body, then it should be applied to the entire student body. That there should be some type of student representation in this process. And that the funds should be spent in real time. So they should be used really kind of within that school year. And then any kind of fundraising that's going on should not be causing any instructional distraction. And again, that these finances are being managed with sound procedures, again, best practices. For my Department of Education, or Rhode, the principal is really the activity fund supervisor. The student activity fund is linked to a student organization, and the district activity fund could be co-curricular with student involvement, and approval is needed at the district level. For Newport Public Schools, my district, the school principal is responsible for the supervision of activity funds ultimately. And one of the other key ideas is that no money is to be kept in school overnight except in a locked, secure place. So some characteristics of a sound internal control system. From School Money Matters, you want it to be reasonable. Okay, so the cost not to exceed the control benefit. So there is this idea that the different aspects of managing the finances should be assigned to different people. But if that cost exceeds the actual benefit of that, then maybe it's something to look at. Time, again, that these procedures should not be using an excessive amount of time. You also have to keep in mind influence of public opinion. So that if you are, say, doing maybe gifts at the beginning of a school year, T-shirts, something of that nature that is, promoting school culture, the public might see that as a waste of funds. So you want to be able to speak to that. Timeliness, again, that things are occurring in a timely manner. And, kind of looking at the overall reality of financial security. It's great to have something locked, but if everyone has a key to it, then really how locked is it? Rhode recognizes a chain of command at the school and district level, and the building and district controls appear to be much more significant, much more specific at the school level than they do kind of at the state level. So the state gives recommendations, but they're not really specifically enforcing anything. It's just recommendations. For Newport Public Schools, again, prior principal approval for all spending with signatures. The audits are occurring on a yearly basis, and that there's a faculty supervisor or advisor for each student activity that shares monthly reports with a building admin. Types of internal controls. School Money Matters talks about preventive controls, detective controls, and corrective controls. Preventive, we are discouraging any errors or irregularities. Detective means you're finding an error and after it's occurred. And corrective means that once you have found that error with the detective procedures, that they actually are corrected, because there's no sense in finding it if you're not going to fix it. Rhode, again, speaks mostly to preventative controls, such as signing requisition forms, prior documentation, keeping accurate accounting records, doing the monthly reconciliations, and they again speak to best practices or recommendations for best practices. Newport Public Schools is really kind of proactive with preventive measures in place, and they have a chain of command with advisors, principal, and then at the district level. General controls for a school accounting system. School Money Matters, we look at the creating an environment. So really, they kind of talk about it all being about the tone and climate of a school. So if you are a school administrator who is demonstrating a high level of integrity and ethics, then that transposes into financial matters as well. Showing a commitment to procedures, having really competent bookkeepers, administratively reviewing those monthly statements, reconciling the accounts, keeping everything in a secure location, and assigning separate financial duties to different staff members. And again, limiting access to the financial system, restricting computer access to financial files, backing up those files, securing petty cash, and again, restricting people who have access to keys, to locks, to combinations, what have you. Rhode again talks about a chain of command when it comes to finances within the school building, within the district. There's instruction around how to create policies around managing funds, recommendations on the assignment of duties. And for Newport Public Schools, again, the supreme authority lies with the building level, with the principal. For cash receipts, we have School Money Matters. We talk about the money being received, recorded correctly, and deposited promptly. So receive, you're posting the deposits immediately. Separate duties when receiving and depositing, and keeping everything under lock and key. That when deposits are made, we're providing security around that, reviewing the deposits on the posted statements, keeping copies of the bank deposit slips. And then, of course, issuing receipts that they're pre-numbered and in order. Rhode is very comparable to School Money Matters when discussing this. They give recommendations to always change the collectors of cash at events, at say for admissions, and that collectors should hand over the money to another party, and that there be receipts for collections. Newport Public Schools speaks to receipts for all cash deposits, and the deposits to be done in a timely manner, and ideally that no funds are left on the school grounds unless they absolutely have to be, and then of course they are secured. When looking at controls for cash disbursements, School Money Matters talks about the issuing of the check. You pay the check, you make it out to the vendor, etc. That they're pre-numbered and in order. You're filling them out completely. You're restricting access to be able to have access to the checks and complete them, and you're never using the checks for personal use. For issuing of purchase orders or requisition orders, as I've seen noted here in Newport, you're following the state guidelines for vendors, written approval to authorize, and the use of technology whenever possible. And balance within the schools, you're always making sure that you're checking up on what the financial balance is within the schools, know the true balances, and also always to be reconciling monthly. Rhode, again, very comparable to School Money Matters. Chain of command with regard to school activity funds, and district activities are done in collaboration with the school board. For the school level, principal's supreme authority, monthly reports are reviewed at the district level. And finally, here are some of my references. Again, School Money Matters, of course. My Newport Public Schools Policy Manual, specifically Section 3000 on business and non-instruction, and the Rhode website where I found the state recommendations for financial policies. And it's been great kind of reviewing some of this information with you, and I will see you throughout the course. Thank you so much.